New York City, Chicago Tribune offices, September 15th, 1922, Friday afternoon. Westbrook Pegler sits at his typewriter. Young journalist, 28 years old, known for his aggressive style, not afraid to criticize athletes. And today he is writing about Babe Ruth. But this is not ordinary criticism. This is an attack, a personal attack. Pegler types, Babe Ruth is a disgrace. Baseball's most talented player, but also its most undisciplined. Drunk every night, drunk every morning, damaging his team. Setting a terrible example for children, the Yankees should fire him, or the team will be destroyed. The article is published. Next morning in newspapers. Millions read it. Some agree, some are shocked. But everyone wonders, what will Ruth do? How will he respond? Will he ignore it? Will he write a response? He would not do something nobody expects. Would he? He would not go to Pegler's office and settle this physically, would he? Then they do not know Ruth. September 16th, 1922, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Babe. Ruth walks into the Chicago Tribune building, gets on the elevator, rides up to the sports section floor, walks down the hallway, heavy steps, angry steps, finds Pegler's office door, does not knock, kicks it open. Pegler is sitting at his desk, looks up, sees Ruth, and in that moment understands. The war of words is over. Now it is time for fists. To understand why this moment matters, you need to understand 1920s journalism. Newspapers are gods. What they write becomes truth. What they say becomes law. Who they accuse becomes guilty. Sports journalists are especially powerful. One article can end careers, can get players fired, can destroy reputations. And nobody can fight back. Because if you fight back, they write more, they accuse more. You cannot win. Babe Ruth knows this. Throughout his career, dozens of bad articles have been written about him. Fat, lazy, undisciplined, bad example. Ruth ignored all of them. Because he knew if you respond, they get stronger. You cannot fight the media. But in 1922, one journalist crosses a line, Westbrook Pegler, Chicago Tribune, young, ambitious, ruthless journalist. He writes such an article about Ruth that Ruth can no longer stay silent. The article does not just criticize Ruth's performance. It attacks his character, questions his family life. Ruth is an alcoholic, out of control, dangerous. Children look up to him. This is unacceptable. Ruth should be banned from baseball. The article is published. The next day, Ruth calls journalist Pegler. On the phone. "Where can I find you?" Pegler feels safe. In the newspaper building. Protected. "I am in my office. Tribune building. Come if you want." Ruth does not respond, just hangs up. 2 hours later, Pegler's office door opens. And the person who enters did not come to talk, came to settle accounts. September 15th, 1922, the day the article is published. Ruth is in New York. Yankees just finished a game. Ruth had a bad day, went 0 for 4, struck out twice. The team lost. He is already frustrated, already angry. Then he sees the morning newspapers. The Chicago Tribune, Westbrook Pegler's column. The headline, Babe Ruth, Baseball's Disgrace. Ruth reads the first paragraph. His jaw tightens, reads the second paragraph. His hands grip the newspaper harder. By the third paragraph, the newspaper is crumpled in his fists. His teammates notice. Lou Gehrig approaches. "What is wrong, Babe?" Ruth does not answer. Just throws the newspaper at the wall, walks out of the clubhouse, goes to his hotel room, reads the article again, slowly, carefully, every word, every accusation, every insult. Drunk every night, damaging his team. Terrible example for children. Should be fired. Ruth has been criticized before, hundreds of times, but this is different. This is not about baseball. This is personal. This is calling him a drunk, calling him a bad father, calling him a disgrace. And it is not just Pegler's opinion buried on page 10. This is front page, sports section, featured column. Millions are reading this. Millions are believing this. Ruth's phone starts ringing. Yankees management, reporters, friends, and everyone wants his response. Ruth does not answer, just sits in his hotel room, thinking, planning. He could write a response, could defend himself in newspapers, but newspapers will twist his words, make him look defensive, guilty. He could sue for libel, but lawsuits take years, and by then the damage is done. Or he could do what Babe Ruth does best, take action, direct action, physical action. September 16th. Ruth wakes up early, 6 a.m., does not tell anyone his plan, just gets dressed, takes a train to Chicago, 3-hour trip. The whole time he is reading Pegler's article again, memorizing it, getting angrier with each reading. He arrives in Chicago at 9:30 a.m., takes a taxi to the Tribune building, a massive structure, limestone facade, 24 stories, intimidating, designed to intimidate. This is the temple of journalism, where words are weapons, where reputations are built and destroyed. Ruth walks through the front door. The lobby is busy, journalists, editors, secretaries. Nobody recognizes him at first. He is wearing a simple suit, hat pulled low, not the Yankees uniform that makes him instantly recognizable. He approaches the information desk. "Where is Westbrook Pegler's office?" The woman at the desk looks up, recognizes him. Her eyes go wide. "Mr. Ruth, are you here to see Mr. Pegler?" "Just tell me where his office is." 11th floor, sports section. "But, sir, maybe you should—" Ruth is already walking to the elevator, does not wait for her to finish, does not want advice, does not want warnings, just wants Pegler. 11th floor, the doors open. Ruth steps into a long hallway, offices on both sides, typewriters clacking, and phones ringing, voices discussing deadlines, stories, angles, the sound of journalism, the sound of stories being written, stories that will become tomorrow's truth. The walls are covered with framed front pages, historic headlines. Titanic sinks, World War ends, women get vote, reminders of the power newspapers wield, the power to shape reality, to create history, to destroy lives. Ruth walks down the hall, looking at nameplates on doors, bronze plates, polished, official. Johnson, Smith, McCarthy, respectable names, important names, men who decide what America reads every morning. Then he sees it. Westbrook Pegler, sports columnist. The nameplate is smaller than the others, newer. Pegler is young, still establishing himself, still proving himself, and he chose Babe Ruth as the target that would make his reputation. Ruth stops, stands in front of the door. Through the frosted glass, he can see a shadow. Someone sitting at a desk, typing, probably writing another attack, another destruction. Ruth's hands ball into fists. His breathing is heavy, not from exertion, from controlled rage. He has walked from the train station, ridden the elevator, walked this hallway, the whole time anger building, pressure building. And now, standing outside this door, it is about to explode. He takes a deep breath, cracks his knuckles. The sound echoes. A secretary down the hall looks up, recognizes Ruth. Her mouth opens. She is about to say something. Ruth puts a finger to his lips. She stays quiet, watches. Everyone will watch. Then Ruth kicks the door open. The door slams against the wall. The sound echoes through the hallway. Typewriters stop. Conversations pause. Everyone looks. Pegler is sitting at his desk, typing. The sound of the door startles him. He looks up, sees Ruth. For a moment, neither man moves. They just stare at each other. Ruth, massive frame filling the doorway. Pegler, thin and smaller, still sitting. Then Ruth speaks. His voice is quiet, controlled, but everyone in the hallway can hear it. "You wrote about me." Pegler swallows, tries to appear calm, confident. "I write about a lot of players, Mr. Ruth. It is my job." "You called me a drunk." "I called you undisciplined. There is a difference. You said I should be fired. I said the Yankees should consider it. For the good of the team." Ruth takes a step into the office, closes the door behind him. Now it is just the two of them. No witnesses, no cameras, no record. "You wrote that I am a bad example for children." Pegler stands up, moves behind his desk, creating distance. "You are a bad example. You stay out all night. You drink. You break team rules. Children worship you, and you are teaching them that rules do not matter." Ruth's hands clench into fists. "You do not know me. You do not know my life. You sit in your office and write about people you never met. You destroy reputations with words, and you think you are safe because you have a newspaper behind you." "I write the truth," Pegler says, but his voice is shaking now. "The truth?" Ruth laughs, but it is not a happy laugh. It is angry, bitter. "The truth is, you are a coward. You attack people in print because you are too weak to say it to their faces. Well, I am here now. Say it to my face. Or call me a drunk to my face." The hallway outside is completely silent now. Every journalist on the floor has stopped working. They are all listening, waiting. They know something is about to happen. They can feel it. Pegler tries to maintain control, tries to use words as his weapon. "Mr. Ruth, if you assault me, you will be arrested. Your career will be over. Is that what you want?" "My career?" Ruth steps closer. "You just wrote an article saying my career should be over. You just told millions of people that I am a disgrace, that I should be fired. So tell me, Pegler, what exactly do I have to lose?" Pegler realizes his mistake. He thought the threat of consequences would stop Ruth. But Ruth is beyond consequences now, beyond caring about what happens next. All he cares about is this moment, this confrontation, this accounting. Pegler backs up, but there is nowhere to go. His office is small. His back hits the wall. "Mr. Ruth, please, we can discuss this like civilized—" Ruth grabs Pegler by the collar, lifts him slightly off the ground. Pegler's feet dangle. His face goes pale. "You want to write about me?" Ruth's voice is low, dangerous. "Then write this. Babe Ruth came to your office, looked you in the eye, and you could not even repeat what you wrote, because you are a coward who hides behind a newspaper." Ruth shoves Pegler against the wall. Not hard enough to injure, but hard enough to send a message. Pegler slides down, lands on the floor, breathing hard, terrified. Ruth looks down at him. "Next time you write about someone, make sure you can back it up in person." Ruth turns, opens the door. The hallway is full of people now. Journalists, editors, secretaries, everyone watching, everyone silent. Ruth walks through them, head high, no shame, no regret, just satisfaction. He did what he came to do, made his point, showed Pegler that words have consequences. Behind him, in the office, Pegler is still on the floor. Shaking, his colleagues rush in, help him up, ask if he is okay. Pegler nods, but he is not okay. He is humiliated, embarrassed, scared, and everyone knows it. If this story is showing you a side of sports history you have never seen before, make sure to subscribe so you never miss these incredible moments, and comment below. Do you think Ruth was right to confront Pegler physically, or should he have handled it differently? Let me know your thoughts. Ruth leaves the Tribune building, gets in a taxi, goes back to the train station, returns to New York. The whole trip, he is silent, processing what just happened, what he just did. By the time he arrives in New York, the story has already spread. News travels fast in 1922. Not through internet, not through television, through phone calls, through telegrams, through word of mouth. By evening, every newspaper in America knows Babe Ruth assaulted Westbrook Pegler in his office. The phone calls start immediately. Yankees management. Babe, what did you do? I settled a problem. You assaulted a journalist. Do you know what this means? He called me a drunk in his newspaper. I called him a coward to his face. Fair trade. This is not a joke. There could be charges, legal consequences. Ruth hangs up. He is not worried about consequences. He did what needed to be done. The next morning, newspapers across America cover the story. But the coverage is not what anyone expected. Some papers condemn Ruth. Ruth's violent outburst. Baseball star assaults journalist. Ruth proves Pegler's point with thuggish behavior. But other papers defend him. Ruth confronts unfair criticism. Pegler got what he deserved. When journalists go too far. The public is divided. Some people say Ruth was wrong. You cannot assault journalists for writing criticism. That is authoritarianism. That is censorship. That is unacceptable. But other people say Pegler was wrong. Journalists cannot destroy reputations without consequences, cannot hide behind newspapers while ruining lives, cannot expect to be safe from the people they attack. The debate rages for weeks. Radio shows discuss it. Newspapers print opinion pieces. Everyone has a position. And in the middle of it all, two men, Ruth and Pegler. Both changed by this moment. Westbrook Pegler never presses charges, never files a police report, never takes legal action. Some people say he was scared. Scared of Ruth, scared of further confrontation. But others say he was smart. Smart enough to know that pressing charges would make him look weak, would make the story bigger, would give Ruth more publicity. So he stays silent, does not talk about the incident, does not write about it, just moves on. But something has changed in Pegler. His writing becomes more cautious, more careful. He still criticizes athletes, still writes aggressive columns. But never again does he attack someone the way he attacked Ruth. Never again does he make it so personal. Because he learned a lesson. Words have power, but physical presence has power too. And sometimes, the person you attack in print will show up at your office. And when they do, you better be able to back up what you wrote. Babe Ruth faces no legal consequences, no charges filed, no arrest. Yankees management is furious but powerless. They cannot suspend Ruth. He is their star, their ticket sales, their revenue. Without Ruth, the Yankees are just another team. With Ruth, they are champions. So they do nothing. Just warn him. Do not do this again. Ruth nods, but does not apologize, does not regret. Just says, if someone attacks me like that again, I will respond again. The 1922 season continues. Ruth plays, hits home runs, leads the Yankees. But something has changed in how people see him. Before, he was the Bambino, the fun-loving slugger, the cheerful giant. Now he is something else, something more dangerous. Someone who does not just hit home runs, someone who hits back when attacked, someone who will not tolerate being called a disgrace, someone who will confront his critics face to face. This new reputation serves Ruth well. Other journalists become more careful, more respectful. They still criticize his performance, still question his decisions, but they stop making it personal, stop attacking his character, stop calling him a drunk or a disgrace. Because they know, if they cross that line, Ruth might show up at their office too. The Ruth Pegler incident becomes famous. Not at the time. At the time, it is just another scandal, another story that dominates headlines for a few weeks, then fades. But over the decades, it becomes legendary, a story told and retold, sometimes exaggerated, sometimes minimized, but always remembered. Because it represents something bigger than just two men fighting. It represents the tension between athletes and media, the power imbalance, the one-sided nature of criticism. Athletes perform in public, journalists judge from safety, athletes live with consequences, journalists hide behind bylines, athletes build their reputations through action, journalists destroy reputations through words. This imbalance exists in every era. But in 1922, for one moment, Babe Ruth balanced the scales, showed that words have consequences, that critics can be confronted, that power flows both ways. Years later, in 1955, Westbrook Pegler was asked about the incident. He was 61 years old by then, retired from the Tribune, working as a freelance columnist, still writing, still criticizing, still controversial. A reporter asked him, "Is it true that Babe Ruth assaulted you in 1922? Pegler paused, considered his answer carefully. Assaulted is a strong word. He confronted me. Aggressively. Yes. What happened exactly? I wrote an article criticizing his behavior. He did not appreciate it. He came to my office. We had words. He put his hands on me. Then he left. Were you scared?" Pegler smiled, a bitter smile. "Would you be scared if a 220-pound athlete grabbed you? Did you press charges?" "No." "Why not?" Another pause, longer this time. "Because I knew what I wrote. I knew it was harsh. Maybe too harsh. Ruth came to my office not to hurt me, but to make me understand that my words had consequences. He succeeded. I never forgot that lesson. Do you regret writing the article?" "No, I stand by what I wrote. Ruth was undisciplined. He did drink too much. He did break rules. Those were facts. But I regret how I wrote it. I made it too personal, too cruel. I was young, ambitious, wanted to make a name for myself. I chose Ruth as my target, and he chose to respond. Fair enough." Babe Ruth never publicly discussed the incident in detail. When asked, he would smile and say, "Pegler and I had a disagreement. We settled it like men." But privately, to close friends, he told the story differently, told it with pride, with satisfaction. Pegler thought he was safe in his office, thought he could write whatever he wanted and I would just take it. But I do not take that, not from anyone. I went there to show him that words have consequences, that you cannot hide behind a newspaper. If you are going to call someone a disgrace, you better be ready to say it to their face. Pegler was not ready. He learned. The incident changed both men. Pegler became more cautious, more professional. His writing matured. He went on to win a Pulitzer Prize in 1941 for his investigations into labor racketeering, became one of America's most respected journalists. But he never forgot the lesson Ruth taught him, never forgot that words can provoke action, never forgot that critics are not invincible. Ruth became more aware of his image, more conscious of how he was perceived. He did not stop drinking, did not stop breaking rules, but he became smarter about it, more discreet. He understood that his reputation mattered, that children looked up to him, that what he did in public affected how people saw him. He never became a saint, but he became more responsible, more mature. more aware that being Babe Ruth meant being more than just a great baseball player. It meant being a role model, an icon, a legend. And legends have to be careful about how they are portrayed, have to defend their image, have to fight back when attacked. September 16th, 1922. A journalist wrote that Babe Ruth was a disgrace. Ruth found him in his office, grabbed him by the collar, shoved him against the wall, made his point. It took 30 seconds, but those 30 seconds changed journalism, changed how athletes and media interact, changed the rules of engagement. Before that moment, journalists believed they were untouchable, could write anything, could attack anyone, had power without accountability. After that moment, they knew. Athletes could fight back, could confront, could demand respect, not with lawsuits, not with press releases, but with direct action, face to face, man to man. That is the legacy of September 16th, 1922. Not the violence, not the assault, but the message that Babe Ruth delivered to Westbrook Pegler and through him to every journalist in America. If you attack someone's character, be prepared to defend yourself. If you call someone a disgrace, be ready to say it to their face. If you use words as weapons, do not be surprised when someone responds with action. That message resonated in 1922, and it resonates today, because the tension between athletes and media has not disappeared. It has just evolved. Social media replaced newspapers, Twitter replaced columns, but the fundamental dynamic remains. Journalists criticize, athletes respond, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence, and sometimes, rarely, with the kind of direct confrontation that Babe Ruth delivered in Westbrook Pegler's office. 30 seconds that reminded everyone that power is not one-directional, that words have consequences, that courage means being willing to back up what you say, whether you write it or whether you live it.